Welcome to Friday's report out. It's great to see you all. I'm really pleased to welcome colleagues from across the Trust and indeed across the wider health and care system in Leeds, which is great. And we're going to kick off with an update on our rapid process improvement workshop on discharge, home first, which I have to say is a really, really important priority for us all right now, given the challenges and the pressures that we're under across the city, and that includes in primary care. And I can see Sarah Forbes has joined us, and I'm sure Sarah would testify to the challenges we're facing within primary care, and I can see Shona as well from a social care perspective. I think it's fair to say that the challenges all of us are facing across the city in relation to the demand that is being placed on health and care services is feels at a level that's really unprecedented. Nevertheless, we've got a great team in Leeds, and therefore it's great to see how we've come together to take an improvement focus to this and look at how we can address one part of that challenge that I'm sure will help us, which is about how we improve discharge and really serve our patients in terms of getting them home first. So with that introduction, I'm going to hand to the team to take us through the RPIW feedback. Thank you.
Thanks. Hello, my name is Helen Rollet. I'm the Kaizen Promotion Lead at Leeds Teaching Hospitals. Welcome to our report out for the Rapid Process Improvement Workshop that has occurred this week. Next slide, please, Jim. As you can see from the slide, this has been a multi-agency workshop this week. And so we've got colleagues from Leeds City Council, Leeds Community Trust, Age UK, and Leeds Teaching Hospitals. So it's been a fabulous collaborative event. As you can see on the slide, I appreciate the detail is reasonably small, but the pathway that we've looked at this week is obviously the pathway of discharge, but we've taken our boundaries from when the patient has no reason to reside, those patients are in an acute bed, right the way through to when the patient arrives home. And we have mapped this from the patient's perspective so that you can see our value stream map, the cycles in that process currently. In the small triangle at the bottom, you can see that at the point of making this value stream map, we had 220 patients in the acute bed trust. My understanding is yesterday that number is actually 256. And so I think, as Julian has alluded to, I think this is a real priority for the city currently. Ultimately, the clouds that you can see on the value stream map are items of waste in our processes. There is just a selection on this map, and throughout this week, as the team will share with you, we've identified lots more waste in the system for us to tackle. Next slide, please. So our project form really does highlight the collaboration that's taken place this week. We've had varying people that work in this process come together from all the organisations to really look at what we can do differently moving forward. You can see that our challenges from our executive sponsors was to think team leads, and so this is a real collaborative piece of work, but also to think home first. We really want that to become our default position for our patients. We know that that's where they can get the best care. So we know that the current process, it's complicated, it's very complex. We've got some amazing services, but actually the information and the provision of those services isn't always well known for colleagues across the city. We also know that home first, whilst people think that we provide home first as our default position, in practice that's not necessarily very easy to deliver. I'd really like to take this opportunity to thank our executives, some of which are on the call already, and I will be handing over now. Thank you to Steph.
Hi there, I'm Stephanie Carlin and currently work for Leeds Community Healthcare as triage coordinator within Spur Gateway. This has been a really challenging but positive week. And what a great opportunity to be involved in helping shape the future of care delivery in Leeds. We have been working on developing a sustainable model whereby the overall philosophy is embracing a culture of home first. This is a collaborative #Team Leeds approach to reduce length of hospital stay, but also to improve patient outcome. Fundamentally, the patient is at the heart of this process. Over to you, James.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is James Weatherall, and I'm a Principal Service Manager at Leeds City Council, and I have responsibility for the recovery hubs and care homes. The philosophy which Steph has just shared with you has been built upon with 6 key principles, and these are collaboration. We will work to adopt a team leads approach which brings together all partners. Empowerment. Our people will be engaged, entrusted, and equipped to succeed. Simplification. Effective processes combined with clear pathways will promote timely discharge. Communication. An integrated digital health and care solution. A single assessment where there is no waste or unnecessary duplication. And the final principle, a gold standard approach, which is nationally recognised as best practice. Thank you, and over to Steph, Michaela and Jill.
Can we have the next slide, please, Jim? And then the next one, thanks.
Hi, my name is Stephanie Turner. I'm a clinical educator and quality lead with Leeds Integrated Discharge Service. Hello, good morning everyone. My name is Michaela Watson. I'm from the Reablement Service out in the community. Good afternoon everybody, my name is Jill Dunno. I'm a coordinator for the hospital to home team for Age UK. It's been acknowledged that discharging patients is everybody's business, and knowing what everyone needs and wants to know is essential. This is key in providing quality training, education and information for all. What we require is a commitment from all our system partners who provide training to support us to achieve this. Training and education and information should and can be adapted to meet all our colleagues' needs to demonstrate a unified approach. Now over to Nilan.
Next slide, please. Hello, my name is Nilam Jadav Patel. I'm a KPO specialist trainee. So during this week's RPIW, we played something called the paper aeroplane game. So the aim of the game was to produce 20 paper aeroplanes in 5 minutes and run a PDSA each time we had a go at this activity. So the first time we ran this game, we managed only to produce 8 planes and 8 of them were defective. So we effectively ended up with no planes, no paper aeroplanes. And then we ran PDSA cycles and changed one thing. Well, the first time we changed more than one thing and measured the improvement. And the slide shows you some figures of how things got better each time we ran this game. And the 4th time we ran the game, we actually did manage to produce 20 paper aeroplanes in just 4 minutes and 13 seconds with no defects. What the numbers on the screen don't show you, however, is the staff morale, so how the team here were doing. So the first time we ran this activity, everybody was quite stressed. They didn't really enjoy it. It wasn't fun to do. And by the time we got to the 4th one, where we've tried 3 different changes, people were almost singing as they were working. Staff morale was increased. Everybody was enjoying themselves. And it was just such a powerful illustration of how important it is to empower our staff and teams to make improvements to their own work. It was really quite fantastic to see. Thank you. Over to James. Next slide, please.
Thanks, Hello, I'm James Hull, the Team Administrator at Spur in LCH. These are our 4 steps in process for Home First. Our step 0 is to prevent admission by exhausting all options in the community first, keeping the patient at home. Step 1 is if they go into A&E. For people who don't need to be admitted into hospital, they go home using the community services available. Over to you, Louise.
Thanks, James. My name's Louise Idle. I work for Leeds City Council and I'm a team manager for the hospital social work team. Step 2. This is after someone has been admitted to a bed base. Only minimal essential inpatient assessment. When there is no right to reside, home first with available services if needed. The focus of assessment and treatment is at home. Step 3 is when all options for discharge home have been considered. An alternative non-acute environment for further assessment is necessary. We would like a robust approach to consider escalation at each step if potential delay is identified. Over to Fiona.
Next slide, please. Hello, my name's Fiona Allport and I'm lead for System Flow, hosted by Leeds CCG. So we were tasked with developing 10 high-level metrics and addressing the following questions. Firstly, how does our current data support the work to be done? And what we do know is that we collect a lot of data regarding discharge, but not all of it is used or informs how we work. Secondly, what do we need to do in the future to understand our actions make a difference? The development of the metrics has been led and guided by the work and conversations in the room, and most importantly, in partnership with the people doing the work. This is very much a work in progress and in development, and has been shared wider for comment as the metrics need to be system-owned. Over to Vic.
Hi everyone, my name is Vic Clark-Dunn. I work at Leeds City Council as a programme manager. I'm currently supporting the Home First work. So there are 10 metrics up on the slide. I'm not going to run through all of them, but just pick out a few. And these metrics have all been developed to support the team lead's philosophy of Home First. So the first metric up there is a quality metric, and this is for us to meet or beat the national percentage targets set against the 4 pathways. We've got some metrics around morale, about our most important resource, our colleagues. The first is looking at the staff skills, knowledge and confidence to do their job well. And the other's looking at how well they feel they can improve and innovate in their role. The final one I'm going to point out is a cost metric. So we've set ourselves a very challenging target of 0 people in hospital without a reason to reside. So I've done a calculation, and I'm not an accountant, so I am happy to be challenged, that we know an acute medical bed costs £278 a day. As of yesterday, we had 256 people in hospital without a reason to reside. That's £71,168 per day that's costing us. If we stay static with the 256, that's a cost to our system of £2,135,040 per month. We want to reduce that to 0. Thanks. Over to you, Elkie.
Hi, my name's Elkie. I'm a discharge lead for medicine at St James's. Can I have the next slide, please? We looked at definitions and used wordplay to create an agreed definition of the following terms. Home first. The first choice to get the patient home. It's their decision. Number 2, failed discharge. 1 or a number of failures that may mean it is felt unsafe for the patient to leave hospital or remain at home. The patient's wishes and views should be considered. If all alternatives have been explored, remaining or returning to hospital is necessary. Number 3, no capacity. The anticipated level of need for the patients exceeds the service available. Number 4, discharge to assess, not assessing to discharge. The patient is assessed in their usual residence. Next slide, over to Emma.
Hello, my name's Emma Kershaw and I'm an occupational therapist working in oncology, which is part of the acute adult therapy team. This week has been a really positive, engaging and challenging process, allowing us time out to identify areas of waste within the equipment processes in Leeds. We have created the value stream here to identify defects in the equipment process, applying the 7 types of waste to it. Through engaging with representatives from the different teams in attendance this week, we have identified that equipment is a challenge for all of the Leeds services, including acute and community teams. We aim to work collaboratively to reduce the areas of waste, which will result in admission avoidance, expedite hospital discharge, and ultimately improve patient experience, which is the motivation behind us all being here this week. Over to you, Anna.
Thank you. Could I have the next slide, please? So we've got a word cloud here with some feedback from the group about what went well this week. So we've seen collaboration of the group and their teams this week, really seeing team leads in action. There's been some great connections made, lots of relationship building, and everybody developing a deeper understanding of the discharge pathway and each other's roles within that. We've also had patient and carer representation. There's been lots of thinking, lots of passion and energy and collaborative problem solving. What's worked well is learning about the improvement methodology from the KPO team, and then agreeing a plan as a group about how we take this forward. And we're going to look at PDSAs for next week in the next slide. So the challenges have been really around thinking about how we get everybody on board with this going forwards and how we change culture across the system. And how as a group do we stay connected going forwards, keeping the momentum when people return to their day jobs next week. And one of the key challenges that people have identified is how having the time to do the commitment work, having the time to do the improvement work, and we've had commitment from execs, which is really, really helpful, but it's thinking about what that looks like going forwards. So we're wanting to propose time out at different stages of the PDSAs. So we would meet at 30, 60, 90 days to see how everything has been progressing. That's it from me. So I'm going to hand over to Christa.
Hello, my name is Christa Johnson, occupational therapist for the Therapy Supported Discharge team. We have developed several PDSA models supporting the future work of Home First. I am presenting mine, which aligns to a statement made by the Royal College of Occupational Therapists. Occupational therapists can prevent hospital admission by 70 to 80% by being based in A&E. Throughout the week, the Rapid Improvement Group has questioned why we are not also focusing on prevention to manage system pressures. With this in mind, I have identified a PDSA object of preventing patients being admitted to the bed base that do not have a right to reside. I am going to test out therapy-supported discharge, occupational therapists working fluidly across St James's A&E and the community, integrating with system-wide partners to achieve Home First. The scope of this may be widened to other front door services. The aim of this is to test out using occupational therapy skills in assessment and rehabilitation to facilitate timely discharge with the right level of support that maximises independence. Data will be collected on community services responsiveness to evidence bed days saved by facilitating a rapid discharge. The next steps will be to commence planning and communication to enable this work to start. Over to Helen.
Thank you, Christa. So it's my job to summarise. So next slide, please, Jim. I think from what the team have presented today, you can hear that this week has been a really good event. We've applied a structured method to understanding the waste in the process that we have currently, so that we've got some really good ideas about taking those PDSAs forward that will have real impact in that pathway to really improve the care that we deliver to our patients. I think we recognise that this is a piece of work around discharge that complements lots of other work that we know is currently going on with the discharge pathways. And we really hope to link this work together so that we provide seamless improvement across the whole pathway across the city. The value of coming together this week's been really noted from the first day of our event, that real building relationships between different teams, and a real recognition that we are all wanting to provide the same level of care for our patients. So a few thank yous on the slide. What I would say is an absolute huge thank you for the team that have presented today, and who have given their time every day this week, and their energy and their enthusiasm. It's been challenging at times, but the ideas have kept coming, and also the ideas that have been provided from the wider teams that we've reached out to. And as we've developed this work over the last 3 weeks, just thank you to everyone that we've come out to for providing us with their time, their experience and expertise, as well as, the enthusiasm for us to tackle this challenge. Thank you to Dr. Eileen Burns that turned up on Tuesday to provide her expertise with one of our activities. John as well provided his time on Wednesday, which was fantastic. Our KPO team for the support, and in recognition of that everyone's been in the room this week, that their teams have been out there working and, you know, supporting the patient care without them. And so, you know, our heartfelt thanks to them that have kept their services going. I'd like to take our time to say thank you to everyone that's come to report out today. But lastly, to our executive sponsors, it's been really good to get that collective view from our sponsors. The challenge is very real. And so we've taken those challenges, and hopefully what you've heard today is a real start of some really exciting work going forward. So thank you. We're happy to take questions, but I'm not sure, Julian, if you want to do those at the end. Thanks.
Great. I can see all the applause. That's fantastic. Really, really good. Well done, guys. Brilliant, brilliant presentation. And I'm really inspired by how you've come together as a team across the city. Now, I can see, I wouldn't normally do this because normally we would take them at the end, but I just did see Sam's hand pop up, and I suspect, Sam, you just wanted to come in quickly with a comment, did you?
I did, thank you. And it's just to say a huge thank you to everyone who's been part of it. I've just been so impressed and really, really pleased about the team leads approach. And that was one of the challenges that we gave right at the start of the process, to try and work as one team. And I can see that has happened. And I'm really looking forward to what happens next. Thanks, Julian.
That's great, Sam. Helen, one thing I would request is, please would you make sure that these slides, which the team have taken through, get circulated to, if they haven't already, to Tim Riley, Kath Roth, Thea Stein, Sarah Munro. I'm meeting with them later today. I'd really like to reference this because we're having a conversation about discharge, and I really want to make sure that we as sort of chief execs, accountable officers, give you guys the necessary empowerment, backing and encouragement and support to really drive this, because I think this in what you've all described and articulated, this is where the answers lie to the challenges that we face. And I'm really pleased to see the quality of teamwork, the level of engagement, and many, many thanks to all of you from across the city for getting stuck into this. Recognise it takes a lot of additional time and effort, but we will get much more out of this the more we put into it, and you're really putting plenty in. So many thanks, guys, and look forward to seeing the 30-day report out as we progress. Great stuff. So let's move on to the next item on today's report out, which is improving the patient experience, reducing delays for patients referred from the emergency department to the Children's Hospital. It's the 90-day review. And can I just say, before the team come in, a really big thank you to the paediatric emergency team, who for the last few weeks, I know, have been under significant pressure given the rise across the NHS in terms of admissions and RSV in children, and rising demands being placed on paediatric emergency teams. So I know that you'll have been working incredibly hard. So it's much appreciated you've come along today to give us an update on the work that you're doing. So over to you.
Thank you, Julian. For those that don't know me, my name's Sam Verity. I'm the Senior Sister in Paediatric A&E Department at LGI. So this is our 90-day report out for improving the patient experience, reducing the delays for patients referred from the emergency department to the Children's Hospital. Next slide, please, Jimmy. So each PDSA team has continued to work hard on taking their projects forward. Patient numbers and acuity has continued to increase, as Julian's just acknowledged now, since the Kaizen event and the 60-day report out. Therefore, great achievements made by all to continue with the work. Positive changes from the work are evident, and some audit data has been received. Next slide, please, Jimmy. So outcome one, the update on the coordinator role. It was a call efficiency audit We've had positive feedback of bed manager team and of the coordinator role, and we still have the badge and the carrying of the dedicated coordinator phone. So there has been a few problems over the past couple of weeks. The phone broke whilst I was on shift the other day. Fortunately, being nurse in charge as well as a coordinator, I have a nurse in charge phone, so it didn't cause too many problems. Improved use of a repeat observation board. It's been integrated really well, and it's helped with delays in getting treatments done and things like that. Improvement have been seen with further nurse allocated to the coordinator end as well to help with the jobs that are on the board as our attendances have increased. Next slide, please, Jimmy. So audit results. There have been 42 patients TCI contacts between ED and patient flow coordinator in the past week of writing this up. Of these, 26 were rated as efficient, 2 not efficient, and 13 efficiency rating was not completed. A total of 42 calls have been received and documented for these patients. The coordinator answered the phone 12 times, the nurse in charge 6 times, and 15 times others, 3 of which were resus nurses that were looking after the child in resus, and 13 were not recorded. Communication and therefore efficiency appears to be improving with the introduction of the coordinator contact phone. However, there are some restrictions to the efficiency. Next slide, please. Patients that are suitable for unescorted transfers to CAT unit have now become embedded in the senior band 5, 6 and 17. This means that any patient who fits the set criteria for unescorted transfers are sent to the CAT unit using the map to show their way. We will continue to use this model and encourage the junior nursing team to embed it in practice as well. Some patients have fed back on previous attendances requiring time needed on CAT unit. They've had to wait for a porter and appreciate this step being removed from their journey. This represents a significant cost saving to the trust and frees up porter time for other tasks. Next slide, please. So outcome 3. The update on the referral. So updates from Ken Books reviewed, CAT phone now working well and previous problems seem all resolved. There have over the past few weeks been some delays due to CAT unit reaching maximum capacity for hot patients and therefore unable to accept any further hot patients from the PDD. This is mirrored with what we are currently seeing in PDED with a surge in attendances of children with respiratory conditions, fever, diarrhea and vomiting. Next slide, please. Audit throughout May, TCI target time 30 minutes. 23 random patients were selected throughout the month with an average time of 43 minutes. Quickest time from TCI to leaving the department was 2 minutes and the longest being 2 hours and 1 minute. This was due to unavailability of cubicle that needed cleaning prior to child going to the ward. Visual audit of the referral process. CAT capacity for patients is now causing delays due to higher attendances and acuity of patients for hot and cold. Next slide, please. So further signage is in place with child-friendly map. Good feedback received from parents stating easier to follow than being told turn left, turn right, turn left directions. As yet, no one, as far as we are aware, has got lost taking themselves to the CAT unit. This is now embedded for appropriate patients, and we will continue to audit this throughout the year. Next slide, please. So that's our child-friendly map. Next slide, please. So going forward, we'll continue to gather and review overall observation data to review target of less than 30 minutes from referral to leaving the CAT department to the CAT unit. We'll continue to develop and embed the use of the job board within the PDD. And to further embed the coordinator role in PDD, improve communication efficiency with the PFC team, audit data and team feedback. We'll continue to work closely with CAT unit on improving working relations and improve patient experience. Discussions already underway to develop a focused nursing assessment to be added to PPM to make transfer and continuing patient care more efficient. And what I mean by that is currently when the child leaves the A&E department to go to the CAT unit, they have a slip of paper that has their name, NHS number, weight, any medications, and the recent PAW score. The notes are then taken to reception to be scanned in real time. However, we know that due to the current pressures within the ED department, a reception staff also have these pressures as well. So there's a delay in getting the information onto PPM. So I've had a discussion with the Band 7 on CAT unit, and we're going to get together in a meeting to try and find what information we want, and if there's a way that we can get a nursing focused assessment on PPM to make that information more freely available. Next slide, please. And that's it from me.
Great. That's great. Thank you very much. Excellent. So really good work. Great to see the progress within, you know, a really challenging context at the moment. So please pass on my thanks to the rest of the team in terms of the work that's going on there. And we're now at a point actually where we've got the opportunity to draw things together in terms of questions. So we've had a really good to report out some presentations on where we're at. So I think it was Jenny's hand go up, Jenny, and then John.
Sorry, I didn't mean to jump the gun. I didn't know whether sponsors for the pieces of work wanted to come in first. So happy to just looking at colleagues. I can see Claire eating a lunch, and I'll go. I thought both were brilliant. I really thought both were brilliant. The first one, I mean, it is one of our absolute biggest priorities as a city, isn't it? Without a shadow of a doubt. And it reminds me, because I can remember personally facilitating something like this in Gloucestershire. And the bit that I just wonder, I was looking in the chat at Tracy's comment, it's how we maintain the momentum on something that is so big with so many moving parts, isn't it? And again, Julian, I was just really struck by your point about, you know, how do we make sure that everybody in the city is behind this, enabling this, staying focused on this, empowering people to be able to keep the time and effort focused on this. And it was really just to, you know, if there is anything offline that as an exec I can do or facilitate, please pull me in, because this just is our #1 joint priority. So if there is, it's an offer really of support to just say if there is anything that we can do offline to be able to add to that, please just ask. I think the other one for me was, Sam, I loved your update on the 90 days, and isn't it? I'm always struck by your report outs about the importance of the embedding into the BAU, and I'm getting a real sense that that's now really happening. It's great to see that, because that's the hard bit in what we do, isn't it? The 90 days, it's holding on to all of that passion and energy from the beginning. So really well done. I thought that was great to see.
Thanks very much, Jenny. John, then Claire.
I'm John Curtin. I'm one of the original batch of QI partners with LTH, and it's relevant that I'm also a board member of the digital board of West Yorkshire and Harrogate. I do a fair bit of work still with the CCG, and also involved with a project in Leeds City Council, which will have an impact on how we can manage and deliver health and care. I just want to really emphasise the massive impact that the work on discharge is going to make to both patients and particularly unpaid carers. For a long time now, when I've been on buses and in pubs, I listen to people, I talk to people. We're starting to get some more formal collection of data now, but one common thing that unpaid carers were feeding back to me were that the NHS is fine. Trying to work with social workers is terrible. Now that's the perception. It's not what I believe to be true, but that is a perception that many unpaid carers are getting. I think I maybe know why, but I'm not going to go into that now. What I think is important is that unfortunately I couldn't be with the whole RPIW week this time, but I did spend Wednesday there, and I'm not exaggerating. It really felt like a joy to be with that mix of people who've got the experience, the knowledge, the commitment, all working together. I was saying, well, why are we doing this? Well, let's just see, let's think again. Can we do this better? And if we can get that balance between how and where we deliver care and health, and when we do it, then we're going to reduce, I think, the need for acute admissions, because we can get that care to people at an early stage, then they're just going to manage better. We've seen it to a small extent through the fact that the CCG, the NHS, is funding social prescribing, and that's working. So I think that the discharge is absolutely crucial to everything that's trying to happen with the ICS, with the white paper that's floating around in government at the moment, but particularly in terms of the well-being, the health, and reducing the stress on unpaid carers. I think the admissions work that's going on, I'm going to say dispatch. The discharge work that's going on at the moment is absolutely crucial, and it is so good to see it happening.
That's great, John. Thank you so much for that. Claire.
So just on Jenny's point, really, I suppose, from earlier on. So one of the key things around the first presentation and that first RPIW is that there's joint sponsorship of this piece of work. We're all equally committed to undertaking this work, as Sam, Shona, myself, Sarah Forbes. We're all in it together on this one. What we discussed yesterday, we had a brief conversation with Helen, who gave us a heads up about the work that's been done this week. And I have to say, well done, because I know you've had to maintain your energy levels all the way through, and it's been tough, and you've had to really challenge yourself during this as well to lift yourself up to be able to see how we could do this differently. But as a silver group of executives, and we are the sponsors for that work, and we are going to continue to support you in the work that you're undertaking, because it is critical for our patients, it's critical for our population, and it's critical for our people that we actually make this difference. And I have to echo Sam's comment. I really love the whole team leads approach that's been taken here. We've got really good people across the whole city, across every single area, adult social care, everywhere. And I'm really looking forward to what comes next, because we've got the right people focusing on the right things. And I'd just like to say, Sam, the second presentation, thank you for that. I'm just thinking about obviously a huge amount of pressure that your departments are under at this point in time, and obviously as we go through into potentially this RSV surge as well, and just making sure that we support you as much as we possibly can to be able to try and maintain some of this really good practice that you've been able to put in place. So we'll I know Joe Woods put a comment in the chat, and we'll touch base on that as well. But it's really encouraging what you've managed to do. So well done.
Thank you.
No, absolutely, Claire, and I'd endorse that, reinforce that point, Sam. Really good. So, Rob.
Thanks, Julian. It's a question. It might be a bit unfair considering how many people have been involved in presenting, but I just wondered about the process over the last couple of weeks. All the brilliant ideas that we've heard about. What's the sort of balance between those ideas being new ideas that have been formed in the last 2 weeks, and how much have been ideas that people have wanted to implement for a while, but it's this event's given you a forum to be able to implement things? I just wondered about the balance between the two.
Yeah, really interesting question, Rob. Anyone like to have a go at that?
I think I might open that one up to the team, Rob, if I'm being honest. It's a really good question. What I would say is what we've presented today hasn't scratched the surface to what is written on Post-it notes on the wall in the room next door. And so what I will say is, just before I open it up to the team, we will collate every single idea that's come in, every single waste that we've identified. And I have said that I will write up this week and then share that as a product, so that we don't lose those ideas, because they have come from the staff that are working in the system. I don't know if any of the team would like to make any comments about the ideas that they've seen this week.
I mean, just briefly, it might sound a bit like a cop-out, but we've probably heard a bit of both. So there maybe have been some ideas that have been bubbling away a little bit, and we've been able to bring those to the surface throughout this event. And we've definitely seen some new ones as well, and people are still thinking and are going to go away to see what they can do in terms of understanding their services and auditing those, and then looking at the value and waste in those, and then seeing how they can start introducing some PDSA into their workplace as well. So still lots of ongoing work to do as well.
Great, thank you. Anyone else wants to contribute on that?
Hi, yeah.
Was that someone coming in there?
Sorry, shall I just come in while someone's not coming in?
Go for it, Emma. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry, Fiona, you go
It's
for it.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, and then Emma's coming next.
Yeah.
I would say, agree with Vic, that it's been a mixture of ideas that people have had for a while, but actually implementing them differently and thinking about how we can work as a whole system and across organisations to support that work. I would say that was, so it's probably ideas we've had for a while, but maybe some of that, how can we do this differently and how can we really make it work this time? And I will hand over to Emma.
Hi, yeah, sorry about that, guys. I think it has really given us the kind of forum to explore the issues that we might have been having whilst working within the systems that we have. This has really given us an opportunity to explore everyone's different perspective on it. So not just from the acute services, I think we can be quite blinded by our own kind of bubble and area of practice, but actually something like equipment has been something that has been, there's an issue in all aspects of Leeds healthcare, and it's been the best opportunity to kind of allow us to have that dialect, to have that conversation about, what the problems are, and rather than just tackling that little part that we're involved in, actually the whole patient experience and the different issues that we're having in order to make sure that we can make it better, we can make a difference, we can get rid of waste, and we can make it better for patients and ensure that patient experience is as good as it possibly can be, in line with the Leeds Way values as well.
That's great, Emma, thank you very much. Some great questions and responses there. So just checking any more questions. I can't see any.
I think there's a hand from Emma, I think.
I think it was a previous one, Claire. So let's draw things to a close then. Really to say thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Really encouraging. Lots already identified and lots of real, I think, promise. And I'm sure all of us remain optimistic about what this work can achieve. We do obviously want to support all of you in this, so I'll be picking that up later on today with my chief exec colleagues across the city to make sure they're aware of this, as I'm sure they will, because I'm sure all of you will be briefing them in your respective organisations. But I think the team leads philosophy and approach really stands out on the discharge piece. And then on paediatrics, Sam, thanks so much. Really, really good to see the work that's going on there. And also very important, actually, also for the whole of the city in the context of the care for children and how we're working to manage the pressures that currently children and families are facing. So great to see everyone coming together today. Really strong report out. Many thanks to the KPO for all of the work. Please join us at the next report out, Friday the 16th of July at 12:30, same time, same place. Thanks, everyone.